Reported today in The Verge. Watch 2 NASA astronauts conduct the first all-female spacewalk in history. This morning, 2 of NASA's astronauts will make history when they don their spacesuits and leave the confines of the International Space Station for a 6.5-hour spacewalk. That's because the 2 astronauts who are heading out into space, Christina Koch and Meir, will be performing the first all-female spacewalk in the history of space travel. To get a perspective on just how big of a deal this is, look at the numbers. Ever since humans started going into space, 227 people have left their spacecraft and done some sort of spacewalking activity. Of that number, only 14 of those humans have been women. Svetlana Savitskaya, a Soviet cosmonaut, was the first woman to spacewalk in 1984, nearly 20 years after the first spacewalker, cosmonaut Alexei Leonov, floated in the vacuum of space. The US followed a few months later, sending NASA astronaut Kathryn Sullivan outside the Space Shuttle in orbit. Yet every woman who has ever suited up for space has also had a male counterpart suiting up with her. No 2 women have spacewalked together, making today's event a big first for NASA and the world. Koch and Meir have also acknowledged the impact of their work. What we're doing now shows all of the work that went in for the decades prior, all of the women that worked to get us where we are today, Meir said during an interview on the space station just before receiving news of the assignment. In actuality, this spacewalk is a bit of a do-over for NASA. The space agency had originally planned to send 2 women astronauts, Koch and Anne McClain, out on a spacewalk back in March, an event that many space enthusiasts were looking forward to. But a week before the scheduled outing, NASA announced that McClain would be replaced with her male colleague, Nick Hague, instead. The reason? McClain realized she needed a medium-sized spacesuit for the trip, and only one medium was ready on the space station. So the suit went to Koch, and the already prepared large-sized spacesuit went to Hague. Vitriol descended upon NASA, with many angry that the space agency lacked enough spacesuits sized for women on the ISS. In fact, NASA did have another medium-sized spacesuit on the station, but it was a spare and not fully configured for spacewalking. Piecing together the second medium suit would have taken up to 12 hours and introduced risk into the mission, so NASA simply chose to change astronauts. Ultimately, it didn't matter. The damage had been done, and the world was disappointed. SNL even mocked the decision in a skit. Now, spacesuit sizing will not be a problem. NASA launched another medium-sized spacesuit to the ISS this year that is fully configured for going out into space. Meir and Koch will have the sizes they need, with no assembly required. For more on this story, visit the news article link.